This is the concierge, sir.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and today we have again Ryan Hunter back in the house. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good, man. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you. So just a reminder for everybody, Ryan is the radio host for 107.9 Coyote Country and also 96.3 KKLZ, where you can catch him here in Las Vegas. He is also the voice of VSiN, which is a company that does sports betting content. We're quite familiar with it.
Yeah, a few things here and there. Voice of a couple of things, produce a podcast or two, and The Village Idiot. But it's good to be here with you.
That's right. So we wanted to come on today because I thought this was a really interesting thing to talk about because I drink quite a bit, but it's not like a cornerstone of like my life. And Ryan has actually currently gone a little bit more sober the last couple, years. Years. Good for you, Ryan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I respect that.
Thanks.
So I thought it'd be fun to talk about things to do in Vegas when you're sober, because everybody thinks of Vegas and you get drunk and all this other stuff. But in my time as a concierge, I actually did run into somebody who came up to me and say, "Hey, where can I find an AA meeting?" And I think I handle it really well. I like a professional, where it's like, "Oh yeah, let me look it up for you."
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was interesting. So there's like a place online where you can check for AA stuff,
Yep.
and this doesn't mean that you just have to be like an addict or anything to listen to this podcast. It's just things to do in Vegas that don't involve drinking, because there's quite a bit of things to do here that don't need alcohol accompanying it. You can actually have a really good time.
Yeah, you can. I got to be honest with you, though. I have really struggled with this, but only because of me as an individual. So I gave up a lot of things a couple of years ago. I'll be forthcoming here. One day I decided that I was going to make a change. So I stopped smoking weed, I stopped smoking cigarettes, and I stopped drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
All at the same time. Didn't think I would actually succeed at that, but I'm coming up on 3 years without any of those things.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Thanks, man. Excuse me. But something else about me, and if you've been on my Instagram or if you know me, you know that I'm not the most physically active kind of dude. I'm overweight. I'm old. I got a bad knee.
But a great voice.
But a great voice. Thank you. So I find it really difficult in Las Vegas because I think most of the stuff to do that doesn't involve getting drunk is physically active stuff, and that doesn't apply to me either.
Yeah.
So I've had to find other ways, and I'm happy to tell you about some of them, but they might not work for everybody.
Sure.
Big one for me has been the library.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think most people in Las Vegas probably couldn't even tell you where a library is. The libraries here are very special, especially the one on West Sahara. There are art displays. Like right now, they have masterpieces that are created on Etch-a-Sketches in glass cases. You can go see them for free. Go get a library card, find things to do. But for someone like me, be honest with you, it's been hard. It's been kind of lonely.
Yeah. So would you say that to sort of avoid the temptation, if you will, on the Strip or local places, is to get away from the Strip is probably number one.
Yeah.
Key number one.
And I think the proximity of Vegas to some of the other places make it great. It's not in my face if I go spend the day in St. George, Utah.
Sure. Oh, yeah, of course.
It's not in my face if I go spend the day in California. Vegas is unique that we're drinking 24/7.
Yeah.
A lot of people start their day with a drink when they're on vacation here. So I think for me, getting out of town and expanding my travel has helped. But the hardest part has been finding friends that are also sober.
That's really tough.
Relationships going back 20 years that, hey, guys, I'm getting sober. That's awesome. We support you. Well, come hang out sometime. Oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're going to the bar.
Yeah, it is really tough that's sort of the default answer for so many people.
For everything.
Is all right, we're going to go to Main Street, and then we're going to go to a bar on Main, or go to Fremont Street, and then you're kind of surrounded by it. And if you're not somebody who is able to, because it is hard, you do feel, especially being male, because I feel it too, is if someone says, hey, you want a drink? And you're like, oh, no, I just kind of want a soda, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get judged for it, which is kind of shitty, isn't it? Doesn't it?
It is kind of shitty, and I see it all the time at work. And I know some of my coworkers will listen to this, and I'm not trying to call them out. I don't care. But recently there was a big house party, and okay, everybody's talking about it the next day, and they're kind of being secretive about it. And like, guys, I get it. I'm not the one you want to invite. Nobody wants the sober guy there. It is what it is.
But Ryan, if it makes you feel any better, I wasn't invited either, so it's okay.
Haha. Well, they missed out on
a
these
crazy
guys.
time.
Yeah, they missed out on a good time.
I think I actually was out of town. I think I was in California. But things that you can do outside of town, which are things. Actually, let's start kind of like closer to in town. Is great museums. Like I think we have really good museums you can do. So
we do, and they're getting better.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about that. One of the first places I went on my own was the Heritage Museum out in Henderson. An absolute gem. You get to walk around. You get some fresh air. It's not physically demanding. You can do it if you have a bad knee like I do. And there's a house or a building from pretty much every piece of Vegas's history restored, put on a cul-de-sac, and you can walk through them. It's $2 to get in.
Wow, I didn't even know we had that.
It's amazing. If you've watched Pawn Stars, the old guy with the beard that comes from the museum, that's where he works. That's how I found out about it. I've lived in this town for 30 years, and I didn't know about this thing until like 2023.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I didn't know we had that. I think this is kind of just since we're still in Henderson. I mean, they also have the Ethel M Chocolate Factory, which is deeper Henderson, like more towards like the what do you call it, the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, that's another one.
But like there are things available, which I think is so important to know.
There are, and something I just realized, a lot of those things are some of the lower cost things to do here in Vegas.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
I just went and recently checked out the Fossil Beds, a new state park here in the Vegas Valley. It's on the north end. I think it was $3 to get in.
Oh my God!
And had a beautiful day and learned about our history and saw fossils and where they dig them up and what the valley was a million years ago. It was awesome.
No, so there's that, and then I mean, there's obviously like we're gonna play the hits here: the Mob Museum, the Neon Museum.
Yeah.
Which the Neon Museum, you can't drink alcohol there because you're like they don't serve it there. Obviously, the Mob Museum is different because they have a bar down below.
Only if you know the code.
And only if you know the code. Which I mean, just check their
Just
Instagram.
knock.
And you can spend so much time there, like especially if you're here like with somebody who, like, let's just say you don't like to drink, but somebody else does, or they like doing sort of like the nefarious type of things. You're able to spend a good amount of time at these places. Like the Mob Museum can take you 3-4 hours.
Oh, it absolutely could. The Nuclear Museum is another one right next to the Tuscany.
Yeah.
It's tiny, but it's pretty interesting. And I think most people walking down the street in Las Vegas have no idea how big of a piece of our history that is.
Oh yeah.
There's a place you can go learn all about it for just a few bucks.
Yeah. So it's also, I mean, this is a really good way to get into like the this is sort of like an affordable way to do Vegas as well.
Yeah. Listen to the last episode we did because we were kind of commiserating about how there's nothing affordable to do. And now we're coming up with all kinds of affordable things.
No, so there's that. I mean, also, like if you're going through these hotels, this is also a really good thing to know in terms of cost cutting is if you're wondering why your bill is so expensive, it's because of all the alcohol you order at dinner. It's like when you look, I drink old fashions, which is like it's a cocktail. Most cocktails in a restaurant are going to be between $18 and $20.
Yeah,
and that's an appetizer for a lot of things.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
If you have 2 drinks, that's $40.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't even think about that. The lady and I, we went to Echo and Rig recently. Pretty good steakhouse over near Boca Park. It wasn't, though. I got a surf and turf, and I think she got some kind. It was like 100, 110 because we didn't have any drinks.
Exactly.
It just
110 for 2 people at Echo and Rig, which is like a steakhouse. Is very good. I mean,
there's a big benefit. Life is much more affordable.
Sure, and then like you can kind of go out as late as you want. I know you don't go out too late, but like when you're drinking, there's always this like you also shouldn't drink and drive is a big thing.
Of course.
But I mean, when you're not drinking, it kind of lets you stay out a little bit later at night. I'm not gonna lie; it would be hard for me to like go out. And again, this is and depends who you ask. Sometimes it's easier when you have a partner. Sometimes it's harder. I'm alone. I live alone, and it would be very hard for me to personally go out to like a bar or something and not drink. It's very difficult. And I know that you say that it can be hard sometimes because if you're with a partner who likes to drink, it could be much tougher. So I think it's one of those things that always depends on your situation for sure. Yeah,
and I think that if someone is trying to experience Vegas alcohol-free, I think it's probably best to just not put yourself in the situation. Like, have you ever tried to go to a nightclub sober?
No.
I went to Omnia once sober, and I was there for maybe 2 minutes.
It would be almost impossible.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
Like and it's a beautiful club and a lot of great people there. No.
Yeah.
No,
like unless
not
you're
for
like
me.
really into the music, but just personally, I'm like, yeah, like I'm gonna need a little bit of like something to make me want to stay here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to do EDC, and people
Yeah.
who know me would probably be like, "What the hell, that guy?"
Mm-hmm.
I did, but I was doing other things that made it enjoyable, so I didn't realize I was in a crowd of 500,000 sweaty, stinky people.
Yeah. But I mean, I did EDC, and I think I only had like one drink because I am so nervous of like getting a DUI.
Yeah,
So,
as you should be.
You
Never
know how
drink and drive.
far it is from EDC to like civilization?
It's a million miles away.
It's so far. I was so nervous. I was like, I can't do it. So it's funny because I think also people at EDC may not be drinking, but they might be partaking in other things.
You want to hear a random weird fact about that?
Yes, I want to know.
So I think this was in the RJ, but I read an article right after EDC last year. They said that ecstasy levels in the water at the wetlands were like 1,000 times higher the days after EDC than any other time of year.
Oh, shit.
Like there's that many people just doing that many drugs.
Crazy.
Look, man, I'm in my mid 40s now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever be back, and I don't think I'll ever drink again.
Which is good.
But there is things to do. But I will say this, man, Vegas is a much harder city to live in for me as a sober person.
Oh, yeah. Like, I would say this has to rank in a very high tier of, like, tough places to live if you're trying to be sober.
Yeah, the temptation at first was really, really bad.
Yeah.
My office sits 20 feet from the longest bar, I believe, west of the Mississippi.
Yeah. It's really hard.
That's when I look up from my keyboard, I see that. So it's hard. That temptation is always there. But if anyone, I'll just say this, man. If anyone out there is trying to get sober and they need somebody to chat with and they want some support, Ryan from 1981 on Instagram and everywhere else, hit me up. I will talk to you.
Oh, Ryan. See, Ryan, that's why you're a good guy, man. You're just there for people.
No, I want everyone to feel better, and I feel better. I feel better. For a lot of folks like yourself, you can have one or two and be okay. I have one or two, I feel great, and then the next thing I know, I've had 20.
Yeah.
So I can't do it. I can't do it. I got too much to lose now.
So Ryan, let's turn it to like. So now we're gonna wrap up the sober talk.
Okay.
What are your favorite things that made you fall in love with the city before, like recently, with all the different changes and the price hikes and all this other stuff? Actually, before we get to that, I want to talk about this. We just had an election. Let's jump into the election talk.
All right. Yeah.
So, Ryan, do you think Trump being elected? We're jumping into it now, guys.
Let's go.
So this is like a bonus episode. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing for Vegas? Because you're a much smarter person than I am. I just want to know kind of your take on it. How do you think it's going to affect the city?
I think it entirely depends on who you are as an individual and how you look at the situation. If he follows through on some of his promises, some of those things could have a major impact on Nevada. We are the silver state. Mining is a big part of our history. If you are pro-mining, you're probably pretty happy that he got elected because chances are we're going to be pulling a lot of lithium out of the ground in Nevada very soon, especially up near Winnemucca. The mine that they're talking about approving right now would build 360,000 electric cars every single year for a decade. That's a lot of electric cars coming right out of here. So for things like that, very positive. If he follows through on no taxing on tips, which was a rally cry of both candidates, a lot of people in Las Vegas are going to do a lot better. In fact, right now, my other half going through an audit because she worked at the sports book in the Bellagio 4 years ago and messed up on reporting on her tips.
Oh, my God.
She's getting audited, but the evil bankers that caused the situation in '08 probably aren't, but Megan is.
Right.
So, like, it might make things smoother in that aspect. I think a lot of people on the other side are really worried about losing some of their rights and things, and we protected female reproductive rights here in Nevada.
But you saw that kind of across the board on in the country where people would vote, like, voted for Donald Trump, but they also voted to keep the abortion rights, which was very interesting because sometimes you think they're correlated, but it really wasn't this election, which is what I saw.
It was not. There was a lot of that all over the country. I saw interviews of people like, I absolutely voted for AOC, and I also voted for Donald Trump. Like, wait, what? How?
Right. It was interesting, wasn't it?
But I think something important to remember with the election, no matter how you feel about it, is that Donald Trump as an individual has a lot of money tied up in this city. There's a very big shiny tower with his name on it. His best friend owns several hotels here in Las Vegas. He is personally involved in the Las Vegas economy and wants it to thrive.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be okay. Maybe. And again, I'm being as clear as possible here. I'm not saying everything's going to be okay, because I know a lot of people are deeply passionate about their hatred for the guy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying things might not be as bad as we think they're going to be.
Yeah, and you think, like, especially Vegas, a place that's always sort of prided itself on growth, especially now that it has to sort of branch out from the hotel casino, like, vertice, if you will, because it's always been mining, hospitality has been the two big drivers of business here. And now this is, for me, they're thinking about bringing in Warner Brothers Studios,
Big
Universal
deal.
Pictures.
Very big deal.
Which, do you think that's going to help or hold up that in terms of bringing that to the city? I mean, I've heard a lot of people, and I think this is people not being educated, to be honest, say, oh, we don't want their politics, leave them in California. It's like, guys, that's not what that is. It's like, they're not going to move here for that. Maybe they will.
Well, millions of them already have.
They already have. But I think it could be good for the city, because it's going to,
It's going to be very good for us. I'm interested to see how, like, the film industry, Warner Brothers, probably since Reagan, they've not really had to navigate life in a red state.
Right.
Now they will.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So will they get the same kickbacks and the same love and attention from elected officials? Almost certainly they will, because they're going to bring billions of dollars to Las Vegas. I'm also thrilled, absolutely thrilled. Your alma mater is going to be working with Warner Brothers. We're going to have, hopefully, one of the finest film schools in the world.
That'd be amazing.
Right here in Las Vegas. Some of these things are going to create change that it's not going to be comfortable for everybody.
Sure.
The location of the studio. Real estate values are going to change.
Oh, yeah, they're going to, of course.
The amount of people coming in and out of Vegas is going to change. It's only going to get busier and more crowded, and traffic's going to get worse. And if you want growth, you have to deal with these things.
That's right.
You're going to be driving through road cones for indefinitely.
No, it's almost done. They're almost done by the
No, it's not. They did a meeting the other day for a major project on Charleston west of downtown to see how the public thought about it. Meanwhile, West Charleston is already a mess because of construction, right where they're talking about another project that they haven't even, like.
It's wild. It's wild where they can get all of these traffic cones to put up. Like, I get all the other stuff, but the actual number of traffic cones that they have. Ryan,
I like this. There was a little rant. We talked about a few things, but a little bonus.
What did we do? So we did sober talk and politics, things that get everybody jacked up to listen to our podcast.
Yeah, we even touched on abortion.
We did, didn't we?
We absolutely
Look
did.
at us.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, Ryan, this is why I love having you on, because you're just so smart. I feel like nobody really knows. I mean, I think everybody knows how smart you are.
Nah.
But I feel like we don't let you just kind of go out and give you like ISO, like just let you go do your thing.
Can I say one more thing? Since we were talking about politics, as of right now when we're recording this, we're a couple weeks away from Thanksgiving. Now, I never agreed with my grandmother on politics. Ever in my entire life. We were always on opposite sides of that table. But the table we shared was the Thanksgiving table and the Christmas dinner table, and I never called her a bitch. She never told me I was an idiot. We never had an argument or a fight. We could sit down and have an adult conversation about the things that we agreed and disagreed on and still love each other at the end of it. And if you're the one that's saying, you know what, Bob voted for so-and-so, Uncle ain't welcome at Thanksgiving, maybe drop that. Maybe remember that he's blood and you love him. And maybe just tell him ahead of time, like, hey, we're going to eat turkey and not talk about it.
Yeah. You
can love and be a part of people's lives that you don't agree with, and it'll be okay.
That's nice of you, Ryan. I think I need to hear that, because me and my dad, we talk, but we don't talk about politics. So maybe we'll see.
Don't talk about politics, and don't skip Thanksgiving with your dad.
Yeah.
Talk about football. Talk about turkey. Talk about your mom. You both love her a lot.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, so talk about her, but understand that just because you don't agree on that doesn't mean that you don't love the person. So please, everyone be nice to each other. Both sides. Come together. It's the holidays.
Bravo, Ryan. Well, I don't think we need to talk anymore, because Ryan just let us out with the greatest outro we could. So thank you so much, everybody, listening to Concierge Confidential. Make sure to follow Ryan on all of his socials, and me, Brian Ortega, at all of mine. Thanks again for listening, and remember, keep it confidential.